We live in a world full of information, instructions, expectations, advice, always more to take in. But sometimes, despite all the noise, the signal isn't very clear. I'm Beverly at DDPCT, a counsellor, a lecturer, and a woman navigating this complexity too. This podcast explores what it means to feel deeply, to think critically, and to stay human in systems that often feel inhumane. Join me each week as we slow down, untangle the noise, and listen for the signal underneath. So let's talk about civic literacy. Now I know the phrase might sound a bit dry, maybe even academic, but in reality, it's one of the most practical and powerful ideas we have for making sense of the world we're living in, especially when things feel uncertain, polarized, or just overwhelmingly noisy. Civic literacy isn't just about knowing stuff. It's not about memorizing names, dates, or institutions, though yes, understanding how things like Parliament or local councils work is definitely part of it. But that's only the beginning. Civic literacy is really about being equipped, having the skills, the knowledge, and the mindset to participate meaningfully in democratic life. That means being able to ask the right questions, to recognize when something's biased or misleading, to think critically where information comes from and why it's being shared. But it also means something deeper. It's about the kind of person you are in those spaces. Are you open to hearing other points of view? Do you value evidence over outrage? Are you willing to engage in dialogue rather than just shout across a divide? In that sense, it's not just a set of skills. It's a way of reading the world around you, a kind of literacy for navigating society itself. And right now, we need it more than ever. With the speed and volume of information coming at us, especially online, we need sharper tools just to keep up. Without them, it's easy to get lost, to fall for things that aren't true, to disengage entirely because it all feels too much. We've seen this play out time and again, whether it's a public debates on Brexit, responses to pandemics, or conversations about immigration and social justice. When civic literacy is low, polarization tends to rise. So does mistrust, not just in institutions, but in each other. But civic literacy isn't only about politics or media, it's also psychological. Because when we feel like we understand what's going on, when we believe we can make sense of events, that we've got the tools to participate, we feel more capable, more connected, we feel like we belong. Without that, people can feel overwhelmed, anxious, even hopeless. And when that happens, it creates the perfect conditions for disinformation to take hold. When you don't know who to trust, anyone can fill the gap. So civic literacy in that sense is protective. It supports our mental well-being. It gives us a sense of agency, the belief that we're not just bystanders in all of this, but participants. Of course, it's not a magic solution. Some people argue that focusing on civic literacy puts too much pressure on individuals. After all, the problem isn't always a lack of knowledge. Sometimes it's the system itself is confusing on purpose. Powerful institutions often benefit from keeping things opaque. And not everyone has the same access to education or to the time and energy needed to dig deep into complicated issues. If we only talk about civic literacy without addressing these inequalities, we risk missing the point. So yes, the work needs to be collective. Improving civic literacy has to go hand in hand with changes in how media and politics operate. It needs support from education, from policy, from communities. Still, that doesn't mean we can't start with the practical. Civic literacy in action looks like this. It's asking who wrote this, why, what's their agenda. It's knowing how algorithms on social media influence what we see and what we don't. It's having conversations with people we disagree with and knowing the difference between a different perspective and a dangerous falsehood. And it's also being aware of our own biases, how our experiences, identities, and backgrounds shape the way we see the world. In a multicultural society like ours, civic literacy is also about connection. It helps us move beyond caricatures and stereotypes. It allows us to have dialogue across difference and to build something more cohesive, more resilient together. Because when people feel genuinely heard, when they feel they can contribute to the conversation, they're more likely to engage. And that strengthens not just democracy, but the social fabric as a whole. The truth is, civic literacy isn't a tick box. It's not something you learn once and you're done. It's a lifelong process, and it's something we need to build together. That might mean taking time to learn how to ask better questions, or pushing for further educational systems that teach us these skills early. It might mean calling for more accountability from media and political leaders, or simply making space online, in person, for respectful dialogue. Because only when we do that can we start to cut through the noise and begin to hear each other clearly.